All right, Unicorn Chefs. This is a fun one. Not only is Shannon a cool lady, she has also been a frequent participator in the chat a lot, but in a not creepy way, like Mike.
Participant. Yes, participant.
A participant.
Yes, that's what we were looking for.
It was funnier where I was going with it.
I'm sorry. Go on.
This show is mostly about the entertainment. The food, particularly if you look at the people I work with, Mike Ellis, content is a distant second in some cases.
Okay, so we have to entertain the children.
We have to entertain the children.
Okay, good.
And then serve them a delicious, nutritious, and easy to make meal so that they too can find the kitchen more accessible.
We're going to make it wholesome, but fun.
It's anywhere from PG to R-rated. We've gone all sorts. I feel like you're a PG-13 episode.
I'll play nice-ish.
And Mike is already telling us his shirt is off in the chat.
Obviously, he's looking at me.
Obviously. So first question, Shannon, our charity for tonight and how our viewers can donate.
Yeah, so there's a link below if you're on YouTube, there's a link below to safeescape.org. They're an organization that helps domestic violence survivors get out of a bad situation. So basically, if you've had any sort of physical, emotional, mental abuse, they help relocate and provide funding for not only yes, exactly. There's a link. They provide tools for women to escape and be safer, or men, if it happens to men as well. So it's close to my heart because I'm also a survivor. So that's why I do the work that I do, and that's how I ended up here.
All right, we want to see what you make at home. # Unicorn Chef. If you also donate, let us know in private, or you can post it. We always sort of like to keep a tally of how much we're giving back to the community. And the most important initial question to kick off is, Shannon, what are you drinking?
Okay, well, I know that most of you already know that I'm a gin girl, obviously. And sometimes I drink a little too much of gin sometimes, but tonight we're doing a gin and tonic, so I've already mixed it, and I have extra tonic over here, and I have extra gin off screen if you really want to know.
You gotta get the good stuff. Come on, what was that? What was that?
This was what was left, okay? Because I don't know, have you been to the liquor store recently? There is not a lot to go with. There's not a lot. There's the really cheap, all the mid-range stuff is gone. So there's high end, and then there's the low end, and then there's the bottom of the barrel Seagram's gin, which I will not drink. So we have to go somewhere in the middle. So there we go.
What are you drinking? Having the Fort Knox of alcohol that I have here, I don't have that problem because I'm already prepared for shortages.
I have 5 kinds of rum, 10 types of tequila. I just only have 1 type of gin right now. That's just what happens.
I have probably 15 different kinds of gin.
See, but I drink all my gin. That's my problem.
So do I. No, I've been drinking it down. Anyway. I am drinking gin
some other time. We have an episode to continue. Yeah.
I am drinking a Hendrick's, which is my favorite basic go-to, with Fever Tree tonic and cucumber.
So you have the grocery store version of gin and tonic with me, and you have the bougie version with Bryson.
Pinkies out, bitches.
Got to do the pinkies.
Let's make some food.
Okay. So we're going to make a really simple recipe, and it's, again, below the chat. You can find the recipe for the chicken. It's just a grilled chicken, which you can prepare in any type of pan. If you have a grill pan, I have a grill pan from IKEA that you can use to grill. Or you can use a cast iron skillet if you have one of those, as long as you don't put it in the dishwasher like Mikey does. You'll be fine. You want a seasoned, what? It's true, right? So you want a seasoned cast iron skillet if you're going to use one. Or you can just use if you have a frying pan or whatever, whatever you have on hand will work. This is a very simple recipe. Marinate your chicken beforehand. You can do it for 15 minutes or 24 hours. I did mine this morning, and so it's all ready to go. I'm probably just going to slice it and then throw it in the pan. So if I run away, it's because I ran to the sink to wash my hands. But all I'm doing off screen is cutting. This is the chicken here. You can see it's just a big piece of chicken. I'm just cutting it, and I'm just going to butterfly it. He marinated his. I just did mine in a Pyrex dish. so you can do it any way that is easiest for you, whatever you have on hand. And literally, this is like a 30-minute or less meal. So if you do any prep work ahead of time, you can do the chicken ahead of time. You can also do the tahini sauce ahead of time. And if you prep salads like I have off camera, you can also have salad. So I've also tried this recipe with roasted Brussels sprouts, which is really nice. And I was going to do that tonight, but I just decided I didn't want to add one more thing to the already exciting evening we're having. So that is my plan. I'm just going to throw some chicken on the grill. And then, Bryson, I think you said you had something that you were adding to, what did you call it? Zhuzhing it up?
Yeah, so that's me, I guess, bougieing it up, to use your earlier pejorative reference.
Bougie is not pejorative. I did not say that. I'm fancy. I have fancy in other areas.
I perceive bougie as a
Bougie ain't
pejorative,
bad.
a backhanded compliment.
It is not a backhanded compliment. Do not take it that way. You will know when I'm insulting you. That was not an insult.
Fair enough. I love to see it coming up front. So I butterflied and trimmed my chicken breast to start, because that gives you more surface area for the marinade. I also, actually I posted it on Twitter this morning because I had blossoms on my rosemary plant.
Fresh
so
rosemary.
I've got fresh rosemary in there with basil. Those are two things I have all the time in my spice garden. I grow basil inside the house, so I always have basil year round. And then, so I added, off of Shannon's recipe, red peppers, which I think peppers are really cool because, the green, yellow, and red peppers, you know the difference?
Well, they start out as green, and then they turn yellow, and then you can pick them when they're red. So they're all the same pepper, but they're different times and different stages of growth. Which
changes actually the nutritional content of literally the same kind of plant.
It does that with tomatoes too.
Green tomatoes are just ripe tomatoes, unripe tomatoes?
Unripe tomatoes, yeah. Slightly different value. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my grill pan. That's what I'm gonna reach back here for. You can't really see it, but I'm gonna turn on my grill pan, heat it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna just leave the chicken on there. Now, how are you doing your peppers? Are you doing them in the same pan as you're doing your chicken?
Yeah, so when I throw the chicken in, I'm probably actually going to lead with the peppers, because the pepper's going to take slightly longer than the the butterfly chicken breast.
Yeah, I have the thicker cut of the chicken breast, so my chicken will probably take longer than my peppers.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw some diced garlic in toward the end too, so I can get some of that
get some of the
caramelized.
season.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we know how much you love garlic. You're like if it calls for 2 cloves, you do like 5 or 6 or 10.
Well, I add a 0.
Hey, I'm not insulting. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not insulted at all. I love garlic.
You like garlic.
We call it Jewish penicillin. That's why I don't get sick very often anymore.
Exactly. I'm going to run off camera and do my hand washing and get rid of my dirty knife. I will be right back. You can entertain the children.
Red peppers are just embarrassed green peppers. There's the dad joke for the night. Mike is actually an excellent dad. Like, speaking seriously, he has a beautiful little boy. Well done, sir. I mean, I credit most of it to Amy, but you were involved, I think. You're involved now.
I mean, she did birth the child, so she really did 99.9% of the work, if we were being honest. Like, she grew a human and then, pushed a soul into the world, so.
I forgot to ask, what are you serving yours over?
I'm doing a mix of brown rice and quinoa.
Ah, okay. I'm doing mine over couscous.
I also had that, and I had the option, but I added garlic and chicken stock to my quinoa, my brown rice. Instead of cooking it straight water, I just added garlic, and then I added a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I added a little bit of olive oil, and then I added the water and stock mix, which I find works really well. Gives it a little bit more kick and flavor.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a great idea. I actually did unicorn salt in my couscous, which is a mix of smoked paprika, rosemary, salt, and I feel like I missed something. Celery seed.
Okay. See, I have 3 containers of celery seed in my spice pantry, and I have no idea what to do with it.
Yeah, no, celery seed is like one of those things. It's like one recipe and like 1,000 calls for.
Yeah, it's like juniper berries. I also have those. I'm like, when do I use? I use juniper berries on a roast. So
we did almost a year ago. We did actually, yeah, it was almost a year ago. It was like 51 weeks ago, like that much close. With Ari Hursty, we did l'occhietto, which is a Finnish salmon soup, and juniper berries were a part of that.
Oh, interesting. It's such a rare, like, specific kind of seasoning. I've never found any other use for it outside of like a lamb roast, or like, you can do like juniper berries and mint, which is really nice. But obviously we're gonna have to do another episode, because like now I'm thinking of all these ideas. Like, I
also make my own absinthe, and I cut it with juniper versus anise. So it actually. So
my next invite over for happy hour is. When?
Well, when I do it, I'm actually going to do an entire party around it, because it's like a big release.
Party? We're going to do like, are we doing costumes? Is this like an absinthe costume?
Yes. There will be a green fairy making drinks at the absinthe fountain.
So are you the green fairy?
No, I'm not the green fairy. I will be the host.
Why do you say it like that? I've seen you be all kinds of things. So why couldn't you be the
I will hire somebody to be a green fairy. I will be my own outfit.
I think this is a personal challenge for you. You can be the green fairy.
Nope.
It's only fair.
I'm the host. I'm not the green fairy. The green fairy is there to serve the absinthe. I am there to oversee it.
So how do you make the absinthe, though? I have no idea.
Basics for absinthe are actually the same way of making Malort. It's just grain alcohol and wormwood. Malort, all that is grain alcohol and wormwood and nothing else, which is why it tastes gross, because wormwood is very bitter. And that's actually why they used anise, is because anise is such a strong flavor, it would overcome the like very, very bitter base.
Right.
I just don't really like black licorice as a like drink.
No.
I don't mind having like a couple of bites, but like drinking it, So I treat more of mine like a botanical gin.
Okay, that makes sense.
Lemon, lavender, juniper berries.
So have you put your chicken on yet, or are you still doing just red peppers?
Nope, I was waiting for you. So I will throw my peppers on now.
Sorry, I thought I already told you that. Have more drinky drink, it's fine.
Well, while we are letting those start, what do you want to talk about? You want to actually, I think, what you do for a living is pretty interesting.
I mean, some people think it's interesting. Some people think it's crazy. I did a Twitter thread today on dumpster diving. So that's a fun one. People are like, wait, you did what now?
You might want to give that context, because dumpsters are not a key part of what you do.
Who don't know me and do not care or do care, I work as a private investigator, so part-time, and then I'm also an OSINT investigator. When the pandemic hit, it mostly went online, so a lot of the stuff that I used to do, like more frequent trash pickup, also known as dumpster diving, and maybe you've seen it in the movies. People actually do that. So in the United States, legally, when you put your trash at the curb, it is it's considered, you can take the trash from the curb. Like, you could pick through it if you wanted to. So I'm not saying kids do this. When my Twitter thread, for context, is I'm saying this because you need to shred your documents, and you need to be careful about what you put in your trash, because people like me or, the feds will actually reconstruct your shredded documents if you don't use a cross-cutter shredder, or if you don't burn things that are important. So we don't have like burn bags like the feds do. So the next best thing outside of burning your documents is a cross-cut shredder. So my point of my thread was like, people like me go looking for information about a person. I was trying to verify the residence of somebody who lived in like an apartment complex or condo, and they were subleasing from someone else. So I didn't know where their exact address was. I had like 3 addresses in the same building, but I didn't know which apartment. So I was looking for specific trash, like a utility bill or a service bill or something to give me some indicator that this person was living there. So, this required some surveillance and some, just seeing them go in and out of the residence. Okay, we can verify this person is actually here, and then serve them properly. So anyway, trash. What's one man's trash is another man's treasure, or woman's treasure. So yeah, that was the context. So I do private investigation mostly for victims of harassment and stalking. So I specialize in a very niche area. And unfortunately, a lot of the most recent cases I've had have been focused in tech. So tech pros. Why is that? I'm adjacent to the community. Like I work with tech people all the time doing what I do. And like, I'm not super technical, but I know I work with people who can do forensics and, mobile forensics that I can't do. I can do basics, but when it comes to imaging all the stuff and looking for things and, finding me what I need, sometimes my skills aren't enough. So I've gotten to know some people in information security like yourself. I mean, obviously you don't do that, but you do other things that I don't know how to do. And so when I talk about what I do, I'm like, yes, it's technical in some degree, but a lot of it is human work. A lot of it is about people and supporting them emotionally and supporting them through their cases and kind of helping them understand they have options beyond staying. Yep. Anyway, that's what I do. Some of it's fun, some of it's trashy, some of it's highly entertaining. I never have a boring day. That's what I will say.
How'd you get into it?
Okay, so that's a really long story. I'll do it in like 2 minutes. So I worked for the government for about 10 years. I did a variety of jobs. I worked for Department of Defense. I worked for the State Department, and I worked on human intelligence type stuff, some SIGINT, some human, mostly human, which is where my skill set comes from. And that kind of built up my knowledge of operational security and understanding the human mind. And I did a couple of classes with the FBI on behavioral science and intelligence and understanding how predators work. Like we did a course on serial killers, but I kind of transitioned that more towards predatory behavior and patterns. So that's kind of where I focus my work, is because my own experiences with it, being raised and living with emotional abuse, kind of drove me into this specific niche. So, yeah. That's how I got into it in a very short way. So I've been a diplomat and I've been an investigator and I've done some other cool shit. Okay. Chicken's going in.
Yep, I'm ready to put chicken in.
Okay, put chicken in. Have you made your tahini sauce already?
What?
Did you make your tahini sauce already?
That's what I was just working on while you were talking.
Yep. So for the tahini sauce, if you haven't already made it and you're making this at home, it's fairly simple. Again, the recipe is below our chat. But when you season it, you can do, like, if you like more acid, you can use more lemon. If you like a little bit sweeter, you can use more maple syrup or less maple syrup. You use a little bit of sea salt in there. It's like 1/3 of a cup of tahini. And it works on falafel really nicely. So like if you want to make falafel, it's really tasty. It works on some kinds of salads, not necessarily spinach, but it works really nice with butter lettuce. So the sauce is multi-purpose. It goes well with meat. And again, it's all to your palate, what you like. If you like it saltier, sweeter, more acidic, slightly spicy. It's pretty good. Mm-hmm. I can see that you hate it. It's terrible. Really bad. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so again, like and you add garlic too, because everyone likes garlic. And if we're all going to eat the same thing, we all want to have garlic breath. So for thinning this sauce, you can just add water. It's going to, when you put it in the fridge, if you don't use all the sauce tonight with your dinner, you can put it in the fridge, and it usually keeps for about 4 to 5 days. And if you, if it like hardens up a little bit, you just add a little bit of water to it to thin it out, and it'll work for, it'll be more liquidy. It just depends on what consistency you want.
Yeah, I used honey in mine.
Yeah. And if you're vegan, you can use, what is that?
Agave?
Thank you. I'm just having, words are escaping me apparently.
Participatory.
Like I can talk up to a point and then I feel like I'm talking too much. So yeah. So my chicken and my peppers are going. I started my rice. For this, I'm doing, did we already talk about what kind of rice we're doing? You said you're doing couscous, right?
Yeah. My couscous is just started.
Okay. So I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing a mix of brown rice and quinoa. So that's cooking. It should be done in a few minutes. I've got all of my stuff ready to go. I'm making little side salads. So like I said, with this, you can do vegetables if you want. If you don't want to do, like you can make a salad with it and you can add the tahini dressing. or you can use whatever kind of dressing you like. You can also do roasted Brussels sprouts, which would be really good with this, or any type of roasted vegetable. It has that really like unctuous flavor. Like when you do like what's in season. You could do a squash with this. You could do Brussels sprouts with this. You could do just about anything, and it would be tasty if you roasted it. So like broccoli even, that might be good. So that's what we've got for food. I did goat cheese on my salads because who doesn't love goat cheese?
Goat cheese on everything.
I know goat cheese is so good. Like why eat regular bad cheese when you can get a log of goat cheese and melt it into things?
One of the things I used to do for fancy salads, well, used to, I guess I still, is take French bread, cut it up thin, goat cheese and honey on it, toast it, and then use that at croutons.
Yes. So I do this really good thing during the holidays. We do, like back before COVID when we used to actually have people over, I make this like phyllo dough with, instead of, you can use goat cheese or brie, like a wheel of brie inside it. So you like wrap the phyllo dough around the cut up brie or the whole loaf of it. And then you add pears and a little bit of brandy.
Oh yeah.
And then you cook in the oven. And so when you cut into the crusted phyllo dough, it's like this gooey, like really beautiful flavor of like the brandied pears with the cheese and like, oh, it's a whole meal unto itself. It's meant as an appetizer, but it's like it's a whole meal and it's really good. All I'm doing off camera at the moment is just cutting up the leftover little bit of red pepper that I had for salads so that I can pretend that I'm having really healthy dinner, which I am, which makes up for the, cheap gin.
Hey, you're the one who's drinking it. It's all your choice.
Listen, the gin's actually not that bad. It's the, I have found that with the tonic water, you really actually have to get the good stuff to make it taste nice because like cheap tonic water, if you get like the generic brand from the store, oh boy. I mean, you're lucky if you can get Canada Dry or Schweppes when you're on the low end, that's fine. But like, do not go with the store brand. Bad move. Mm-mm.
Well, any kind of alcohol in the second glass works out. By
the time you get to like the third glass of gin, you're doing things you shouldn't. So yeah, I have great experience with that one.
Oh, are you sharing?
No, I'm just saying don't drunk text people when you have too much gin in your system. That's all I'm saying about that.
I think that's a general rule.
I know, but like sometimes we forget, and it's been a really long pandemic, like, yeah, it's been a rough couple years.
Somebody said, why is this recommended? I'm guessing
recommended what?
I don't know. I'm guessing we got somebody who just joined us who is going, what am I into? So this is Unicorn Chef. We are a cooking show. We have a different guest every week. We publish the recipe a week in advance. We cook, we joke, we serve. Yes. How's your chicken? I already cooked one side. It's coming along nicely. And your peppers are doing well? Yep. Are you going for charring on your peppers, or are you just going for like a soft pepper? I always think it's pretty when it has a little char. Now, how long is your couscous? Okay. There's definitely an element of cooking where the work down. See, we're live. Fun things happen when you're live. Where the presentation of the food, the aesthetics help it taste better. So all I was doing was adding water to my rice. So I'm not really great at cooking rice. I have this bad habit of how if you heat it too fast or too slow, you either over or undercook the inside or outside. And technically I should probably just use a rice cooker at this point because I fail at rice every single time, which is why I added the quinoa, because that'll balance out the crappy rice. Is my favorite. I have not given into the rice cooker. I have found that doing the grandmother approach of just more water, then there's rice in there and butter. You just keep that at a low, and
Low
That's
and
pretty much what a
slow.
rice cooker is. So any of the recipes that call for rice in this, I just keep it up in the corner with a small pot, and then by the end of the episode, I've got steamed rice.
It's usually done. Yeah.
And you keep it on low so it doesn't burn. It's basically what a rice cooker does.
I have a low flame, so I have like gas stove. So I set it at like a 3 or 4, so it's just a really low flame, nice low and slow. Just add a little bit of water when it looks too dry.
All right, checking my couscous.
Hang on with that.
Yeah, that's that one.
Say it again.
So
What?
couscous, you wanna fluff it a few times as you're cooking it.
You said fluff.
What?
You said fluff.
Yeah, I'm fluffing it.
Yeah.
Are you flirting with your PG-13 rating?
Listen, I'm just communicating with our like 2 viewers so that they feel like they're part of the show, okay? And if it's Mikey, he needs me to acknowledge it.
We've got more than 2 viewers.
Okay, 5. How is your fluffy couscous?
Well, I haven't tasted it. I was just fluffing it.
Like, how are you gonna know unless you?
How am I gonna know unless I put it in my mouth? Okay.
Listen, you gotta know what you're seasoning, right?
I'm actually a little interested. It's the first time I've used the unicorn salt with the couscous. Ow, that's hot. Ow.
What's in the unicorn salt? Remind me.
Well, I said that earlier. Salt,
I know,
smoked
tell me
paprika, celery seed.
Oh, that's right. We were discussing celery
rosemary.
seed and all the lack of uses for it.
Yeah, it's good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
My couscous is done.
Okay. My couscous is almost done, and my chicken is almost done, and my peppers are almost where I want them.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm almost ready to plate as well.
Almost ready to plate.
Oh, that's so pretty. It's so pretty.
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty good looking.
Good. Hopefully it'll taste good. And look at that. We're just at 30. Like, so this is one of those like weeknight meals that if you can make with just about anything in your pantry, you do not have to season the chicken the way we did. You can do it in any other way that is to your fancy. If you like it spicy, if you like it sweet, if you like it, it's up to you.
Well, I'm still laughing because there was that episode that Mike did with El Jefe, where by this point in the episode, they hadn't even gotten food started on the stove yet.
Well, I mean, I think you and I both are prepper. Like, we like to prep things, so like we like to be prepared, right? Yep. So like for any instance, we're like off camera, we have 10,000 things in case something goes sideways. I think that's like the military like your military background and like me being raised by a Navy guy. So like my ex-husband is like a Marine. So like I've been surrounded by like Air Force, military, Army, like, so always be prepared. I was not a Girl Scout or Boy Scout, but like you'll learn you have to have redundancy for everything, whether it's in your work or whether it's in your cooking. Always have a backup plan.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready to plate.
Okay.
So while we're doing that, anything other than admonishing the group to be prepared?
In terms of,
it's your show.
I'm just here to look pretty.
You do it fabulously.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so pretty.
I like the color. It's really nice. Now, did you go with the fresh parsley, or are you going to do like fresh rosemary on top?
I got fresh parsley.
Nice.
I'm going to grab a sprig for aesthetics. Yep. And There we go. Presentation in the corner.
So I guess the only thing I would say is if you're supporting the charity, or if you know somebody who needs help or is in a situation that they cannot get help or resources for domestic violence, or you know somebody that's been abused, because we all know somebody, every woman has a story, even men have a story, and I've had plenty of clients who are men as well. So be a safe space for them to come to, so that you can provide them resources if they need it. Because like sometimes the closest link for somebody who's going through cyclical abuse is having a friend talk to you, ask questions, and see if they can get help. So I know for me, that's the way that people find me. And most of my work is, person to person. So yeah, I have some Twitter followers, but I'm not like famous or anything. I don't have 100,000. I have like 7,000, I think. Anyway, I'm ready to plate when you are, and
yep.
Feel pretty for you.
Yep. I'm, see, I got mine
Okay.
there.
I just got to figure out my
Oh, sorry, I hadn't got that far yet.
No, it's fine.
Put my tahini
down, because like I have my whole like jerry-rigged laptop with a book under it. You should see my setup. It's amazing.
Mine's on a slow cooker.
Listen, I have a ring light. I upgraded to a ring light, so I had good lighting in here. But
my ring light is upstairs at my desk.
Of course it is. I have one of those too, but it's at my desk.
There we go.
Okay. So hopefully we've entertained the children in the chat. It's been great.
All right, ready for screenshot?
I think, hang on. There we go.
Okay.
You can kind of see it. Well, not as fancy as you, but. I think we did okay. It smells really good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
I'm going to take a bite. I'm going to let you know.
Do it. Yes.
Quality control.
I mean, you just want to make sure that it tastes.
Yeah,
Very
the chocolate critic is upstairs. But the kid thing.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. And she hasn't had a chance to try the sauce yet.
She has not had a chance to try anything. All right, here we go.
It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of all right. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. The red peppers are a nice addition. I like it.
Yeah, thank you. I also threw some sun-dried tomatoes in. I didn't tell you that.
You can really do anything with this recipe. It's so easy. Anyway, I have no final words of wisdom other than stay safe.
No final words for the kid?
I mean, I can tell you a fun story if you want, but like.
Tell us a fun story.
Well. Okay, so the most recent client, one of the most recent clients I've had in this last 6 months. So during the pandemic, she was being stalked by a student. Only at the time they didn't know it was a student, but it turns out that she was forced to take a 6-month sabbatical because this student is a computer science student at her university. She's at a prominent East Coast university, and she's a professor. She teaches economics and something else, history, I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. And so while she's teaching classes, she's getting messages in her email like, I'm watching you. I think you're so pretty. Just average messages that wouldn't seem like anything too out of the normal if it was her husband or her boyfriend, but it was neither. So security at the university starts investigating, but what really got her was he had managed to hack her car. Now, with most new cars, I know, here's where it gets interesting, more interesting than just sending you nice love notes and stuff and leaving stuff at your house. But so most new cars have like a display, they have GPS and they have like an onboard computer system, and like they have, you can sync your phone and your text messages and all these things. So I'm old school and I have a car that doesn't have any of that shit. So, but she has this really nice new Mercedes, and there's an app where you can remote start your car. So somehow, we still haven't figured out exactly how he did it, but like he hacked the app on her phone. So there was some sort of vulnerability within the app that he found a loophole for. He gets in through the app and he starts leaving her messages in her car. So like on the display, she turns the car on and says, hello, professor, and then her name, and then leaving her little love notes in her car. So the worst part about this for me was that this woman felt the need. She felt so unsafe because this person had now been in her vehicle, like maybe not physically, but technically. She took a 6-month sabbatical. She had to redo her entire home system. So like we're talking thousands of dollars to do new modems, new computers, New everything. You know, this is not cheap. These are not cheap devices, new laptops, just to be safe. And so the student was not expelled because his father was he gave endowment to the university. Also turns out he works in tech, in information security. So I'm a person that knows where the bodies are buried, which is good and bad, unfortunately. So I don't know what the resolution will be down the line. The student was like, he took a semester off. I don't know what they're going to do for him. Because he's not a romantic partner of hers, she couldn't get a restraining order. Because in some states, some localities, you have to be romantically involved with the person in order to get a restraining order against them. So she couldn't get a temporary order. She couldn't get any sort of defense that way. She couldn't get a stay from the court. So her options are literally like either take time off or reset her life. And that's what she chose to do. She's gone back to work now, but like it affected her entire family. So that's the most horrific one recently.
And all the more reason to donate to safeescape.org.
Exactly. So you're welcome for the story. And you're munching away and I'm going to eat my dinner. And hopefully Emma likes it too.
All right. Well, those of you at home, donate and hashtag Unicorn Chef. Share what, I think I'm getting an echo from your side.
Sorry.
Share what you make. We want to see your tahini sauce.